Sheila from Creating It, and I'm so glad you could join us. Hope your night is going well. So as you know, I make crochet items and I make knit items, but did you know I also make people? This here is one of my lovely creations, my daughter Capri.
Hello, hello.
So we're just kind of hanging out in the living room, just talking about all things knitting and crocheting. So get comfy, grab your knitting or crocheting, and come join us. So what would you say is like one of the craziest things?
Kind of the different weights that come with yarn, because a lot of people, I'll notice that when, you know, I'm trying to teach them to crochet, they'll bring their yarn over and I grab it and I'm like, oh, wait a second, you got wool for an amigurumi, which is...
What's wrong with a wool amigurumi? Especially if you're making
Nothing's
an
wrong
animal.
with a wool amigurumi.
Right? You want it to be fuzzy.
And so, obviously, you can use wool for an amigurumi, but I'm making a pillowcase. It's slow going, don't judge me. But it's gonna be a pillowcase. It was originally a blanket, but I was seeing how much time it was taking, and honestly, I gave up hope.
I know I'm not that patient. This is never gonna be a blanket.
It's gonna be a pillowcase, so that's a good in between, I think, for me.
She wants instant gratification.
Exactly.
I actually made a blanket for my son when he was little.
And you did one for me too.
I did,
yeah,
and I did use worsted
different
weight.
colors.
I used worsted weight yarn because
it took years though.
It took me a long time, but long story short, I made it. But it wasn't as soft.
For this one in particular, you notice it's kind of stiff. It's a little bit rigid. Should have used a bigger hook. It was,
Well, why didn't you use a bigger hook?
Just because. I didn't have one. I was impatient. Could have gone to the store, could have gotten one. But that's also reason number 2 why this is not going to be a blanket, because this would be like a very, like, I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of crinkly, kind of stiff, so pillowcase is the route we're going for this one.
See, you can
Don't
always
judge me.
incarnate your projects into something else, so they don't have to be what you start out. You can always adapt. You can. You absolutely can. You can do anything you put your mind to. Yeah, what made you choose that white color?
My apartment. Now, I know you can't see my apartment, but you won't find colors like red or orange or neon green or bright blue in my apartment.
Because those colors don't exist in nature.
She is so neutral. She loves everything neutral. But on the other hand, I like things that are colorful.
But that should go to show you that even me, who's been knitting and crocheting since I was 12 years old, so going on 11 and a half years now.
I remember when she was a preteen and she first got a pair of knitting needles. Her friend had started knitting, and so she got on this kick. And
she was like, Mom, I need knitting needles now. I need my yarn now.
So we went to the store, and she's all excited, and so she started knitting. What was your first
I
knitted
remember
project?
my first skein of yarn was this like acrylic blend, and like I said, like there's different yarns for different projects, and nothing against something that's like acrylic, that's like worsted weight or like, you know, thin weight yarn, but the first project I was making wasn't really an acrylic project. It was a skein of like half, it was like half cotton, half acrylic. It was real shiny, and it was a combination, you know, the yarns that go from one color to the next, so they fade from like yellow to like mustard yellow to like pale yellow to like white. I was using one of those, and I was trying to make myself a hat.
And I didn't make myself a hat
because I just picked up a pair of knitting needles and a skein of yarn, and I thought I was going to do this intermediate project for myself, and it was going to be done in like a few hours since I'd seen my mom do it. And I'm like, well, she can do it, why can't I? But needless to say, I did not make myself a hat that day.
But that's okay. We get excited about our project, and yarn and needles and hooks really inspire us to be
overzealous,
creative. And that's what we want. We want that energy, right? And that's what fuels us to make cool things.
Yeah. Can't learn if you don't try, right?
Exactly.
At the very least.
This is where we have an awkward pause because we run out of things to say.
Intermission.
Name that song.
Name that song.
One thing that really goes well with knitting and crocheting is either wine, chocolate, or a cup of tea or cocoa. So those are some treats that go really well with
fiber arts. Coffee if you're doing morning knitting, obviously. Coffee is a must in all of our lives, most of our lives.
So Capri actually has her own Etsy shop because she's a designer as well. She designs little amigurumi animals and foods. It is so cute. I really wish I could do more of those kind of things. So you should check it out. I'll just put a link in the description below. Okay, so we are getting hungry and we are going to go make fish tacos. But I hope that kind of gave you a little sneak peek into our knitting and crocheting antics. Let me know in the comments what the funniest or like silliest things that you've ever had happen or do when you were knitting in your fiber arts journey. So until next time, we will talk to you later, and you have a wonderful evening. Bye. Action!
Give me a 3, 2, 1.
We probably look like we're really dumb. You're nice. 3.
Okay, so
The fire is
it is warm. That's why I took the shawl. I was like, my face was getting like. So I remember when I got my first pair of needles and my first pair of yarn. It's like mascara's running because there's just sweat rolling down my face from the fireplace. It's so warm.
cut.
You also made me do a single crochet when I'm trying to do a double crochet. You're throwing me off.
You know what's funny? I remember actually looking at people who would knit and think to myself, wow, that's really like advanced. Like I could never do that.